ازيكم يا شباب الأخبار؟ هنحل مع بعض May 2025 Unit 1 أو 1H يعني للموديولار سيستم. فيلا بينا. أول question عندي two fractions and we need to find its multiplication. The first step is to write each fraction in the improper fraction form. فأول واحد ده هننزل الدينومينيتور زي ما هو، بعدين نعمل ده تايم ده هيدينا 9 plus 2 هتكون 11. the first fraction will be 11 over 3 and then multiply by the same with the second fraction. The denominator is 7 and then 2 times 7 is 14. 14 plus the numerator, 14 plus 4, so 18. And then in the multiplication we multiply up with up, down with down. طبعا لو عايزين نعمل simplify before going through the multiplication مفيش مشكلة، يعني ممكن حد يقول لي الاتنين دول divisible by 3 ف I can divide by 3 هنا فهتكون 1 و divide by 3 هنا فهتكون 6، بعدين أعمل 1 أو sorry 11 times 6 and then 1 times 7 فهتكون 6 over 7. ده تمام مفيش مشكلة. بس يعني إن معظم الناس بتعمل كده، ده تايم ده وده تايم ده. ف 11 بالكالكوليتر بقى 11 times 18 هتكون 198 over 3 times 7 ف 3 times 7 21. اوكي، ونكتب ده على الكالكوليتر اللي هو الانسر دي ونشوف السمبلست فورم بتاعتها. فادي 198 over 21 فده هيكون 66 over 7. عشان تكتبها ميكسد بقى لان هو بيقول لك give your answer as a mixed number، فكل اللي هتعمله الانسر اللي موجود على الكالكوليتر دلوقتي اللي هي دي هتدوس لها شيفت، يعني بعد ما تلاقي دي كتبت هتدوس شيفت اس دي، يبقى شيفت بعدين اس دي هلاقي كتبها لي in the mixed number form فهتكون 9 and 3 over 7. يبقى دي الفاينل انسر 9 and 3 over 7. اوكي طيب نشوف اللي بعده. هنا بيقول the height of a tree is 17.8 meters correct to 1 decimal place. write down the lower bound. طيب نشوف الاكيرسي اللي هو عاملها 1 decimal place معناها 0.1 فهنعمل divide by 2 هتدينا 0.05. فبعد ما بنعمل divide by 2 النمبر اللي بيطلع ده نعمله بلس على الأصلي بيدينا الأبر، نعمله ماينس من الأصلي بيدينا اللور. فهو في أول حاجة عاوز اللور فهتبقى 17.8 minus 0.05 فدي لما نحسبها هتكون 17.75. عايز الأبر باوند أو لأ، هو عايز اللور بس في part A. بعدين بيقول لي the weight of an apple is 145 grams correct to the nearest 5 grams. فنفس الفكرة هو عامل correct to the nearest 5 فهنعمل ال 5 نفسها divide by 2 فهتكون 2.5. اوكي، فهو هنا عايز ال upper bound فبنفس الطريقة we add 2.5 to the original number to find the upper bound. ف 45 plus 2.5 هتكون 147.5. So this is the upper bound of the weight of this apple. Okay, and then A equals الoperation دي وبيقول لي by rounding each number to one significant figure work out an estimate for the value of A. طيب we round before we calculate، يعني we don't calculate and then round، لأ we round and then calculate. we will round each of these three numbers to one significant figure first and then we find the answer. So the first significant figure and the first one is 4 يعني 7 هتزود ال 4 فهيبقى 5 and then multiply. The first significant figure and the second number is 8. 1 does not increase 8 so it will be 800. The whole digits must be replaced by zeros over. For the denominator the first number is 0 so the first number is not considered as a significant figure. The first significant figure is the first non-zero digit from the left اللي هي هنا 3. So 9 will increase 3 so it will be 0.4. okay, and then we find this by the calculator. okay, so 5 times 800 over 0.4 this will be 10,000. okay, so this is the first sorry this is the final answer, so 10,000. okay, and then question 3. here's a biased spinner. The spinner can land on pink or on green red, yellow, or blue as shown on the spinner. Okay. We have the probability table and we have two missing values in the probability table. Whatever the question is, we must find the value of x. Okay, how can we find the value of x? We must know that the sum of all the probabilities must be 1. Okay, so we add all these probabilities to be 1. So if we add the numbers first, we can add this plus this first. So by the calculator, 0.14 plus 0.23 plus 0.18. This will be 0.55, so 0.55 plus we add the terms 2x plus 7x will be 9x. Now we added all the probabilities, so the answer must be 1. So we can find the value of x by subtracting 0.55 and then divide by 9. So x will be 1 minus 0.55 and then divide by 9. So let's find this. So 1 minus 0.55 over 9. This one will be 0.05. This means that the probability that the spinner lands on red will be 2 times this. 2 times 0.05. So the probability here will be 0.1. And this one also will be 7 times 0.05. This will be 0.35, I think. This times 7, yes, 0.35. Okay, what is the thing the question needs? Jim is going to spin the spinner 500 times or count the expected number of times the spinner will land on blue. To find an expected number of anything, we find the probability of the thing and then multiply by the total number of times. So we need to find how many times the spinner will land on blue. So we take the probability of blue and then multiply it by the total number the spinner is spun. So we multiply this one, which is 0.35, by the number of times, which is 500, and then we find this. So 0.35 times 500, this will be 175. Okay? So the final answer here is 175. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here the diagram shows triangle ABC and a semicircle. Okay. This triangle is right angle triangle, as we can see. We have 90-degree angle. Okay. And we need to find the area of the region shown shaded in the diagram. So the region which is shaded in the diagram is the difference between the area of the triangle and the area of the white region. This region, which is the semicircle, if we remove this white region from the whole triangle, we can find the area of the shaded part. Okay, so the point is to find the area of the triangle and then the area of the semicircle and then subtract them. Okay, we have BC 20 and AB 15 and this one 25. We can find this one if it is not given, by the way, using Pythagoras square root 15 power 2 plus 20 power 2 because it is the hypotenuse of this triangle. Okay, so to find the area of the triangle, half base time height, because we have 90-degree angle, half base time height. Okay, so the area of the triangle will be, this is the base and this is the height. Okay, so 1 over 2 times 20 times the height, which is 15. And we find this, it will be 150, so 150 centimeters square. Okay, this is the area of the triangle, and then we need to find the area of the semicircle. The area of the total circle is pi r squared. So we need to find the area of the semicircle, I mean the area of half the circle, so we divide this one by 2. Okay, so we need to find the radius. Look at the semicircle, we have the diameter, not the radius, and we know that the radius is half the diameter, so the radius will be 8 over 2, which is 4. So now we have the radius, so to find the area of the semicircle, it will be pi times 4 power 2 over 2. And then we find this. If you find this on the calculator, it will be 8 pi. Okay, so we subtract these two numbers, so 150 minus 8 pi. So this will be, we need to round the answer to three significant figures. So 150 minus 8 pi. Okay, so it will be 124.8672, and there are another digits. Okay, now we need to round the answer. So the first significant figure is 1, so the third significant figure is 4, so 8 increases 4, so the final answer will be 125 centimeters squared. Okay, it's an easy question. Okay, let's see the next one. Here we need to simplify this. When we multiply the same base, we add the powers. So the answer of this would be x power 5 plus 7, which is 12. So the power of x here is m, which is 12. So m is 12. And then by the same way here, but here this one is division. When we divide, two things have the same base. So we subtracted the powers. So the simplify of the left side will be y power 5. So the power of y is n, which is 5. So the value of n is 5. Okay. Part C, we need to simplify. We can distribute the power for everything inside the bracket. So 5 power 3, and then a power 4 all power 3, and then r power 2 all power 3. You can simplify direct, okay? This step is not essential, okay? So we find each one. So this one will be 125. And for this one, we multiply the powers because a have 2 powers. So we multiply the powers, so a power 12. And here r has 2 powers, so we multiply the powers also. So it will be r power 6. So the final answer is 125, a power 12, r power 6. Okay? Okay. The next one, the diagram shows a block in the shape of a cuboid. The block has a horizontal base with length 6 meters and x meters. Okay, this is the length and this is the width. The block is placed on a table so that the whole of its horizontal base is in contact with the table. So this base, which is a rectangle, is in contact with the table. Okay. The block exerts a force of 702 newtons on the table. So we have the force. The pressure on the table due to the block is 65 newtons. So we have P, we have the pressure. We need to find the value of X. We have this formula, we can use it, but we can use it in another simple way, which is the magic triangle. So the pressure is force over area. We have three things: force, pressure, area. So we have, if we have any two of these three things, we can find the third. So we have the force and the pressure, so we can find the area. But you may say that we don't need the area, we just need X. We find the thing which is missing in the formula, and then the next step will be clear. Okay, so the first step here is to find the area. So the area from the magic triangle will be force over pressure. So the area is force over pressure, so 712 over the pressure, which is 65. And then we find this. So 702 divided by 65, this will be 10.8. Okay, look at the unit of the area in the pressure unit. The pressure was newtons per meter square. That means that the area that we find is in meters squared. Okay, what this area represents, the area we found is the area of the face which is in contact with the table. So which face is in contact with the table? The question said that the horizontal base, which is in the shape of a rectangle, is in contact with the table. That means that the area we found is the area of this rectangle only. How can we find the area of the rectangle? We find the area of the rectangle by length times width. So 6 times x, which is 6x, equals the area we found, which is 10.8. And this is the point of the pressure. Okay, the point is to know that the area in the formula is not the total area of the shape. It is just the area of the face which is in contact with the table. Okay, so to find x, we divide by 6. So x will be 10.8 divided by 6. So 10.8 over 6. This will be 1.8. So 1.8 meter. Okay. We need the answer. It was x meters, so we need to write the value of x only. So x is 1.8. Okay. Okay. Here we have a fractional equation. The first thing is to multiply 6 to the other side. So 6 will be multiplied by this and this. Okay. So 6 times x and 6 times negative 4. So it will be 6x minus 24. 6 times x is 6x and 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. This will be equal to the numerator, which is 3 plus 2x. This is a linear equation because x has only power 1, there is no power 2. Okay, so that means we need to make x the subject, we need to make x in one side alone. So we switch these two terms, so 6x minus 2x equals 3 plus 24. We switch each one and change the sign of each one. Okay, so the simplify of these two, 6x minus 2x will be 4x, and then 4 plus 24 will be 27. To find x, we divide by 4 because 4 is multiplied with x, so x will be 27 over 4. 27 over 4, I think, will be 6.75, I think. Let's see on the calculator. Okay, 6.75. Okay, we can leave it in the fraction form anyway. The question didn't ask me to write the answer in a specific form. So x is 6.75. Okay, the next one we need to factorize this thing. But before we're going through this question, we have to remember that when we see the word factorize, we have to look for the highest common factor first. And then we see which kind of factorizing we can do after we find the highest common factor. You may not find the highest common factor, but it is necessary to check it. Okay, so if we look at this expression, there is no common factor. So this expression is quadratic, which has a, b, and c. So we can use the calculator in mod 5.3. This is the calculator. So we find the mod 5.3, quadratic. Okay. So we write the coefficients. A is 1, so 1, and then B is negative 11, not 11, okay, and then C is positive 30, and then we put equal. So the first one is 5. We change the sign of the answers to write the brackets. We don't need the values of x or the values of y because it is not an equation, it is just an expression, so we need to write the brackets only. And keep in mind that the letter here is y. Whatever the letter you have in the paper, the calculator will give you x, okay? But you write the letter in the question. The letter in the question is y, so the first bracket will be y minus 5, not x minus 5. And the second one will be y minus 6, also not x minus 6, okay? So the final answer will be these two brackets, so y minus 5, and then y minus 6, okay? And then we need to find the solution of this equation, the same expression, but now it is equal to 0. That means we have an equation. That means we need to write the values we found on the calculator for y. So y will be 5 or 6. The two values we found on the calculator in the last part. I mean, we just equate each bracket to 0. So this bracket, which is y minus 5 equals 0, means y equals 5, and this bracket y minus 6 equals 0, so y equals 6. Okay, you don't have to show any working, just write the answers you found on the calculator. Okay, for the next question, it's a sets question. Okay, we have the universal set, the numbers from 18 till 30. A is the even numbers, so we can write the members of this set. So 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, and then 30. Okay. The next set is a multiples of 3. So the multiples of 3, all the numbers which are divisible by 3. So 18, the first one, and then we add 3, so 21, and then 24, add another 3, 27, and then 30. We don't have any numbers more than 30. And then C is multiples of 5. So the first multiple of 5 is 20, so 20, and then add 20, so the next one is 25, the next one is 30. No more multiples of 5. And then we need to list the members of the set, which is A union B all dash. Dash means not this thing. Okay, so we need to find the numbers which are not in A or in B or in both. Okay, so any number in A, we will not take it. Any number in B, we will not take it. Any number in both of them, we will not take it. Okay, so I mean we will take all the numbers except the even numbers and the multiples of 3. So any number in this set, if it is even number, you will not take it. If it is a multiple of 3, you also will not take it. So let's see what are the members of this set. So the first one, 18. So we cannot take it because it's a multiple of 3. So 19 is the first one. And then 20, 21, 22 is even. 23, the next one, it is not a multiple of 3 or an even number. This one is a multiple of 3. This one is not a multiple of 3 nor even number, so we can take this number, 25. And then 26 is an even, 23 is a multiple of 3, 28 is an even, 29 is a member of the set because it is not even nor multiple of 3. So these are the members of the set A union B all dash. Okay, and then Sophie writes down the statement B intersect C is phi. This symbol called phi. Phi means an empty set. Set has no elements. So explain why Sophie's statement is wrong. Let's find this one. Let's find the common elements in or between B and C. If there is no elements in common, so Sophie will be right, otherwise it will be wrong. So the common numbers between B and C, I mean the numbers which are multiples of 3 and the multiples of 5 at the same time. So if we look at these two sets, you can find that 30 is a common number between them. So one number is enough to prove that the statement is wrong. So 30 is an element. This symbol means an element of B intersect C. Or you can write 30 is in common of the two sets of B and C. Okay, this works and this works also. Okay, so the next one is D is a set such that A intersect D is these two numbers. So the only common numbers between the set D that we don't know and the set A that we know are these two numbers, 18 and 26. Okay, so I know that D will have these two elements also. Okay, because these two elements are in common between A and D, so they must be in the same, in the two sets at the same time. The set D has exactly 5 members, so we have another 3 numbers we don't know. So we need to list the members of one possible set of D. So we have 3 other numbers. Okay, now you can choose any 3 numbers, but not from A. Because if you take another number from A, the intersection will be not these two elements. If you choose like 20, okay? So if you put 20 here, that means the intersection now between D and C will be, between D and A will be 18 and 26 and also 20, okay? So you can choose any 3 elements except the members of A. Take any 3 elements except the members of A. Okay, so you can take from C, but also you have to avoid any member of C. Sorry, any member of A. Okay, A was the even numbers, so you can take any number which is not even, like 19. And then 21 works because it is not even. That means it is not in the set A. Like 23 also works. So now it is one possible set for D. Okay, so we can write 18, 26, 19, 21, 23. There are many correct answers, okay? Okay, let's see the next. 7 power x equals 1. The thing we may put in the power to make the answer is 1 is 0, because 7 power 0 is 1. And then we need to simplify this to find n. So we simplify the top first. So we add the powers. It will be 8 power 11 plus negative 4 will be 7. And then over 8 power 12. Now we subtract the powers, whatever which one is more than which one. We subtract the top minus the bottom. Okay, so 7 minus 12, it will be negative 5. So the power of 8, which is n, is now negative 5. So n is negative 5. Okay, let's see the next. This is a trapezium, and this trapezium has one line of symmetry. The trapezium which has one line of symmetry is called the isosceles trapezium. Okay, so this trapezium is isosceles. I mean, this side and this side are the same. So this will be also 12. Okay, what do we need? We need to find the area of this trapezium. So the area of this trapezium, or the area of any trapezium, will be 1 over 2 multiply the height multiply base 1 plus base 2. So all what we need to have are the heights and the two bases. The two bases are this one and this one. These are the two bases, B1 and B2. And the height, we don't know it. There is a common construction we do in the isosceles triangle and also in the isosceles trapezium. In the isosceles trapezium, we always draw this height. Okay, and if the trapezium is isosceles like this question, we draw two heights like this. Okay. Why we draw two heights? Because this line will be the same as this part, and these two parts will be the same also, because the two triangles here are identical, because it has one line of symmetry. Okay, so if we know the rest of 47, we will divide by 2 to find the length of these two parts if we need. If we don't need it, it's okay. We may not use it. Okay. So now let's see how to find the height. Now this line is perpendicular to this line because it's a height. So the height always perpendicular to the base, and we need to find this. Okay. This is a side in a right angle triangle, and for the right angle triangles we have only two options. The first one is Pythagoras, and the second one is trigonometry, which is SOHCAHTOA. We use SOHCAHTOA when we have an acute angle, if we need to find an acute angle. Otherwise, we use Pythagoras. Okay, so if we look at this triangle, we may write this triangle outside the trapezium. Okay, this is the triangle. Okay, this angle is 60, and this is 12, and we need to find this. Okay, so we have now an acute angle, so we use SOHCAHTOA. So look at the one that we need, call it H. This is the opposite, and the one we have, this is the hypotenuse. So O and H we use sine, so we write sine 60, sine the acute angle, equals the opposite, which is H over 12. So to make H the subject, we multiply by 12, so H will be 12 sine 60. If you find this on the calculator, it will be 6 root 3. Okay, leave it in the exact form because it is not a final answer. If you need to write decimal, you have to write at least 5 decimal digits to get an answer which matches with the mark scheme answer. Okay, so this is the height, so we have no problem now with the height. So this is 6 root 3. Now the problem is with this line, which is the same as this line. These two lengths are the same. Okay, so if we find this one, it will be the same as this one, so we can remove these two from 47, so the remaining number will be the length of the second base. So the point now is to find this. Okay, now we know that this one will be this one is now 6 root 3, so we can now, using Pythagoras or even SOHCAHTOA again, you can find this line. So I prefer Pythagoras because it has less working than SOHCAHTOA. So this one we need is not an hypotenuse, so we can find it using Pythagoras minus. So we can find this part, okay? Square root 12 squared minus 6 root 3 all squared. When you find this, it will be, I think it will be 6, okay? Okay, so this part is 6, and we said this part also will be 6. That means the length of the remaining part of the line DC will be 47 minus the sum of these two parts. So 47 minus 12. So 47 minus 12, it will be 35. Okay, let's check. 47 minus 12. Yes, 35. So now we have the two bases, and we have also the height, so we can find the area. So the area of the trapezium will be 1 over 2 multiply the height, which is 6 root 3, multiply the two bases. The bottom base is 47 and the top base is 35. And we find this and round the answer to 3 significant figures as required. So 1 over 2 times 6 square root 3 times 47 plus 35. 35. This will be 426.08. There are another digits. The third significant figure here is 6, 0. Will not increase 6, so it will be 426 centimeters square. Okay? Okay, let's see the next. In this question, we need to expand and simplify. So we start with the first two brackets. So we multiply these two first. So 5x times 5x will be 25x squared. And then 5x times 4x will be positive 20x. And then we put this answer inside the bracket to multiply it with the last bracket. Okay, and then we multiply again. So 25x squared times 2x, it will be 50x cubed. And then 25x squared times negative 3, it will be negative 75x squared. And then 20x times 2x, it will be positive 40x squared. And then 20x times negative 3, it will be negative 60x. And then we collected the like terms, so 5x cubed has no 5 terms, so 50x cubed has no like terms. And then these two terms are like, so negative 75 plus 40, it will be negative 35x squared. And then the last term has no like terms, so this is the final answer. Okay, for part B, we need to make these two fractions single fraction. So the first thing is to factorize. If anything can be factorized, we have to factorize it. But here we don't have any factorize for any one of the two fractions. So if we have plus or minus, we have to make the denominators the same. If it is multiply or divide, we may work without same denominators. Okay. So here we have plus, so we have to make the denominators the same. So 5y and 4, to make them the same, we switch the denominators. We multiply the first fraction by 5y up and down, and the second fraction by 4 up and down. So now the same denominator will be 5y times 4, which is 20y, okay? And the first numerator will be 5y times 9, which is 45 y, and we expand this one. And there's an important point: if the operation is plus, you can expand in this step, but if the operation is minus, leave the expanding until you make them single fraction to don't get a mistake with the sign. Okay, but now it is a plus, so we can expand. So y times 4, it will be positive 4y, and then negative 7 times 4, it will be negative 28. And then we collected the like terms, so 4y plus 45y, it will be 49y, and then minus 28 all over 20y. Don't forget to factorize the final answer, because you may have two things up and down that can be cancelled. So if you look at the top of the fraction, you can see that 7 is a common factor in the two terms. So we take 7 as a common factor. So when we divide this by 7, it would be 7y. Divide this by 7, it would be negative 4. and the denominator has no factorizing, but now there is nothing can be cancelled from up and down. So if you write this answer or this answer, you will take the full mark of the question. Okay. Tree diagram question. Ricardo is going to play one game of badminton and one game of tennis. He can either win or lose each game. There's no draw. Okay. The probability that he will win the game of badminton is 0.7. The probability he will win the game of tennis is 0.4. Complete the tree diagram. So for the badminton, the probability that he wins is 0.7. So here we write 0.7. To find the probability that he loses, we do 1 minus this one. Okay, so 1 minus 0.7, it will be 0.3. And then the next one, which is the tennis, it is 0.4 to win, so 0.4 here. So to lose 1 minus 0.4, it will be 0.6. And here we have two different games, so the two different games are independent. That means if he wins the first one, these two probabilities will not change if he loses. You will write the same numbers here, because the probability that he wins or loses the tennis game is not depending on the thing that happens for the badminton game. Okay, so we copy the same numbers. We call these two games are independent. Okay. Okay, and then we need to work out the probability that Ricardo loses both games. So lose the first and lose the second. So we take these two numbers, so we multiply them. So 0.3 multiply 0.7, so the answer is 0.18. So this is the final answer. Okay. Okay, let's see the next. We need to complete the table for this function. We have only two missing values, so I will substitute x equal -3 in this expression using the calculator. So let's do it. So bracket instead of x, and we write -3 all power 3, and then plus 2 another bracket -3, and then plus 3, so it will be -30. Okay, and then the last one, 2, I will replace each -3 by 2, so this will be 2, and this also will be 2. So it is 15. Okay, and then on the grid, draw the graph of this one. So we need to draw the graph. We first plot the points and then join by a curve. So the first point is -3, -30. So it is here, and then -2, -9. So -2, -9, -2, -9, it will be here before -10 by 1 square. Okay, and then -1 and 0. So this is the point. 0 and 3. That's it. And then 1 and 6. So 1 and 6, it is here. And then 215. So 215 is here. And then 336. So it will be in this position. And then we join using a curve. We must pass through all the points. So we draw the graph, and there is nothing else is required. Okay. So the next one, the diagram shows a sector OAP of a circle with center O. So we need to find the area of the sector. So the area of the sector is x over 360 multiplied by r squared. X here is the central angle of the sector. Okay. So we direct substitute in the formula. X is 40 and the radius is 12. So 40 over 360 multiplied by pi r squared, so pi times the radius, which is 12 squared, and then we got the answer to 3 significant figures. So let's see. 40 over 360 multiply pi multiply 12 squared, so it is 50.265, and we round the answer to 3 significant figures. So the third significant figure is 2. 6 will increase the 2, so it will be 50.3 centimeters squared. And for part B, we have a triangle. We need to work out the area. To find the area of a triangle which has no right angle, we use the formula, which is half AB sine C. We just need two sides and the angle between them. Everything is given, so we substitute. So 1 over 2 times the first side, which is 7, times the second side, which is 9, times sine 115. And we find this and also round the answer to 3 significant figures. So let's see. So 1 over 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 9 multiplied by sine 115. So this will be 28.548. Another digits. 3 significant figures. The third significant figure is 5. 4 doesn't increase, so 28.5. Okay. The next one, we need to solve this equation. This is a quadratic equation, and we need to round the answer. That means we will not have brackets. We will have quadratic formula. If you check the answers, we use mod 5.3, so you will get a third form. So that means we don't have brackets. So we use the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus square root b power 2 minus 4ac over 2a. It is given in the formula sheet. So x equals negative b, I mean a is 5 and b is 9, c is negative 17. The coefficients we have written on the calculator, okay? So negative b, I mean negative 9, and then plus minus square root b power 2, so 9 power 2, minus 4ac, so minus 4 times a, which is 5, times c, which is negative 17 over 2a, I mean 2 times 5. And then we don't have to recalculate it. We copy the answers on the calculator. After we write the substitution, we copy the answer from the calculator. So the first one will be negative 2.95, 3 significant figures. The second one will be 1.15. Okay, we don't need to recalculate it. So the final answer is negative 2.95 or 1.15. Okay. Okay, the next one is an equation. We need to solve this equation, but this equation, as you can see, has unknown in the power. When we have unknowns in the powers, you have to take each base which is not a prime number and write it as product of its prime factors. Okay, so look at the numbers which are not prime numbers. Here we have 8, so it is not a prime number. 4, not a prime number. 2 is a prime number. So the two numbers that we need to write as prime factors is 8 and 4. So 8 divided by 2 to prime factor it. It will be, we will divide it by 2. So 8 divided by 2 will be 4. Divided by 2 again will be 2. Divided by 2 again will be 1. When we find 1, that means the prime factors is done. So we can write 8 as 2 power 3. So instead of 8, we will write 2 power 3 and everything is the same. So 2 power 3 instead of 8. And we write this one. So 3y plus 4. Multiply. Let's go the next one. The next one is 4. I think 4 is clear. 2 power 2 is 4. Okay. And here the other power, which is 3y, all that equal to 2 power 5y. And then we simplify the left side. We have 2 powers for this one, so we multiply the powers. So it will be 2 power. 3 times 3y will be 9y. And then 3 times 4 will be 12. This is for the first one. For the second one, we also multiply the powers, so it will be 2 power 6y. And then this all equals to 2 to the power 5y. The left side is not simplified. We will multiply. That means we have to add the powers because we have the same base to the left side. So we add these 2 powers, okay? So we will add 9y plus 6y, it will be 15y. So 2 power 15y plus 12. This is the simplest form of the left side. This is equal to 2 to the power 5y. The point is, when you do the prime factors of all the numbers which are not a prime number, you will find at the end the 2 sides have the same base, as you can see. When we have same bases in the 2 sides, that means the powers also will be the same. Okay, so base equal base to the power equal the power. I mean 15y plus 12, which is the first power, equals the second power, which is 5y. It's a linear equation, we can solve it. So we can collect y in one side, so 15y minus 5y, it will be 10y. and then we move this one to the other side, it will be negative 12, and then we divide by 10, so y equals negative 12 divided by 10, it will be negative 1.2. Okay, so when you see unknown in the power, look at the numbers which are not prime numbers, and then write each one as a product of prime factors. Okay, let's see the next. Here we need to write this one in this form. Okay, to find the value of k. Okay, if you write this one on the calculator will give you decimal. Whatever the thing you do, you will not get the exact answer using the calculator. So what will we do? We need to get rid of this square root, or to simplify it. In other words, to simplify the square root, we have to get the even power which is close to 5. What is the nearest number to 5 which is an even number? I need the even number which is close to 5. Okay, the even number which is close to 5 is 4. So why don't we choose 6? Because I need the even number which is less than 5, not more than 5. Okay, so this number is 4. So we split this one into this form, root 3 power 4 times root 3 power 1. Okay, because if I multiply, I will add the powers, which means it will be root 3 power 5. Okay, why did I do this? Because if I have even power, I can get rid of this square root. Okay, so how to get rid of the square root? The easiest way is to write the number in the index form or in the power form. I can write any root in the power form because this root has 2 here, but it is not written. So we can write this as 3 power 4 over 2. The power of the root will be in the denominator of the power. And then this one has no simplify, it will be the same. So if you find this now on the calculator, it will be 3 power 2, which is 9. You can find it direct on the calculator, it will be 9, and then the square root 3 will be the same. Now k, it is clear to be 3. So k is 3. So the calculator will not make sense in this question unless you know how to split the powers, and then you take the first one which has an even power and leave the second one. Okay. Okay, for part B, we need to rationalize the denominator, whatever the title of the question is. When we have third in the denominator, the question asks you to get rid of this third. Okay, I mean we need to rationalize. So when we have two terms in the denominator, we multiply up and down by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate, I mean I change the sign in between the two numbers and multiply by up and down by the same number, I mean. Okay, so when you change this sign, it will be plus. So I will multiply up and down by 3 plus square root 2. This is called the conjugate. But whatever its name is, it is not the point. The point is to deal with it. Okay, and then we multiply. So this time this will be 63. This time this will be 21 square root 2. And then these two brackets, their multiplication is so easy, just first by first and second by second, because they are conjugate. So 3 by 3, it will be 9, and the negative root 2 times positive root 2, it will be negative 2. Okay? And then we simplify the bottom, so 63 plus 21 square root 2 over 9 minus 2 is 7. And then we split. Okay? He always asks you to split the answer, to write the non-third and the third, each one in the simplest form separately. So we will split, I'll take 63 over 7 to be the non-third. So 63 over 7, it will be 9, okay? And then 21 over 7 also, it will be 3, so 9 plus 3 square root 2. Now we found the solution, we simplified the third and we got rid of the third in the denominator, but he needs the final answer in a specific form which is different to the one we got. The difference is that in the third part, we have here a coefficient of the third, which is 3, but the answer he needs is with coefficient to 1. That means we have to put this number inside the square root. So to put any number inside the square root, we put it with a square. That means we can write the first one the same, but the second one will be positive square root 3 power 2 times 2. So now what I'm doing is I write 3 square root 2 in the form root number. Okay, so I need to put 3 inside the square root. So I write 3 square root, and I enter this 3 inside the square root, but it will be 3 power 2 inside the square root, and it will be multiplied with the 1 which was inside the square root. And then you find the answer of the one inside without the square root. We only find the answer of this. So 3 power 2 times 5, it will be 18. So it will be square root 18. So the final answer will be 9 plus square root 18. Okay? This is a way. But if this way is not clear, you can deal with another way. If you need to write the answer in any form, specifically in the third question, if the answer he needs is different to the answer you got, like this, okay, take the answer you got and make it equal to the answer he needs. So now I can find the value of d. To find the value of d, all what I need to do is to cancel this square root. So I can cancel this square root and put square to the other side. So now d is 3 square root all power 2. This will be 18. That means I can write, instead of this, I can write root 18. Okay, which is root d. Okay, so if you got an answer which is not the same answer he needs, make the answer he needs equal to the answer you got, and then find the letter and then write the answer in the same form he needs. Okay, this is the histogram question. The histogram shows information about the times in minutes that some people were in a shop. Okay. Work out an estimate for the proportion of these people who were in the shop for more than 40 minutes. For the questions in the histogram that ask you to find the proportion or the percentage or the probability, the ratio, the fraction, when you are asked to find any one of these things, you have to take the area over the area without thinking about whether the area gives you the frequency or not. Take the area over the area. Using the scale in the question, the given scale I mean, or you can put any scale on the vertical axis and then you divide the two areas, you will get the same answer. Because we don't need to find the frequency, we just need to find the area over the area. So any question you need to divide, asks you to divide to find any one of the 5 things I wrote before, you have to to divide the two areas without any information about whether the area gives you the frequency or not. Okay? I mean, if I don't have the scale, if these numbers are not written, okay? I don't need to find the frequency density and then the frequency and the things that we always do with the histogram question. We just put any scale like 5, 10, 15 and so on, okay? And then find the area over the area without any other working. But this based on the required in the question to be proportion or probability or percentage or ratio or fraction. Anything we do divide to find the answer. We don't need to find the frequency itself, we just find the area over area. Okay, but here we have the scale, so we can use it. We need to find the proportion. So first we find the area of the thing we need. We need the thing which is more than 40. So start from the 40 and then take everything which is more. Okay, so I'll put line here. So I'll get this area. So the area length by width, I mean the class width times the frequency density. So the class width here is 40 to 50 is 10. So 10 multiplied by the height, which is 0.5 here. So 10 times 0.5. So here the area is 5. And then 50 to 60 is also 10 multiplied by the height here. Here the each small square is 0.1. Okay, so this one 1.5, 1.6, so 1.7, so 10 times 1.7, so the answer here is 17. And then we find the other areas because we will divide these two areas by the total area. Okay, so from 30 to 40 it will be also 10 times the same height, which is 0.5. So here we have another 5, and then here is 15. So from 15 to 30 the width is 15, and the height of this bar, the height here is here 3.5, so 3.6. So 15 times 3.6, 15 times 3.6, it will be 54. So the area here is 54. And for this bar, from 10 to 15, the width is 5, multiplied by the height here is 4. So the area is 20. And for this one, the width from 0 to 10 is 10, multiplied by the height here, which is 2.5. Okay, so 25. And then we add all the areas to find the total area that we need to divide by. So the total area is 25, this one, plus 20, this one, plus 54, this one, plus 5, plus 5, plus 17. I added up all the areas, so the area is now 126. So this is the number that I'm going to divide by. I need to find the area that we need, the part from 40 and more. So this and this, so 5 plus 17, it will be 22. So it is 22 over 2 over 126, which is simplified to 11 over 63. So this is the final answer of the proportion he needs. Okay. Here we need to simplify. I said in the last algebraic fractions question, the first step is to deal with the algebraic fractions is to factorize whatever the operation we deal with is. So you have to factorize first. So the first thing we look at for the factorizing is the HCF. So here we have 3 common factor. So when we take 3 common factor, it will be x power 2 minus y power 2. But this one also has another factorize, which is the difference of 2 squares. So we can square root this and the square root this. So the top of the first fraction will be 3, and then another brackets. The square root of x power 2 will be x, and the square root of y power 2 will be y. So x minus y, and then x plus y. Okay? Over. For this one, the bottom of the first one, we have 5 common factor. So we will have x plus y. And then divide. For the second fraction, the common factor here is xy. So xy. When we divide this by xy, it will be only y. And when we divide this by xy, it will be only negative x. And in the denominator of the second one, there is no factorizing. Now we can simplify each fraction before we go through the division. So this will be cancelled with this. And also xy with xy. So we have 3 times x minus y from the first one over 5 divided by y minus x over 10. And then after we simplify each one, we have now divide. So in the divide we use keep change flip. So keep the first one. So the first one will be the same. And then change the division into multiplication, and then flip the second one, which is after the division. And then again we can simplify, because we have multiplication, and in the multiplication we can simplify from the same fraction or from the 2 fractions. It must be one from up and one from down. So if you can see, this one and this one, they are identical except the sign. Here x is positive, here x is negative, here y is negative, here y is positive. That means this one is the negative of this one. Okay, so you can cancel this with this, but the answer will not be 1. The answer will be negative 1. Like when you divide 5 by negative 5, the answer will be negative 1. When you divide 8 by negative 8, the answer is negative 1. Okay, because they are identical except the sign. So if you have 2 things identical except the sign, you can cancel them. Okay, but the answer will be negative 1. Not 1, so must be written. Okay, so now from the top we have 3 times 10, so 30, and in the bottom we have 5 times 1, so it will be negative 1, so the final answer will be negative 6, so this is the final answer. Okay, let's see the next. I don't know what's going on with the algebraic fractions. This exam is full of algebraic fractions, and I don't know what is the point. Okay, anyways. Given that k is m plus n and m is 3 over 4n, express 7k minus 5m in this form. Okay, so let's substitute k by m plus n here, and substitute m by 3 over n here, and see what will be done. Okay, so 7 times k, so k will be replaced by m plus n, okay, over at the bottom 5 minus m, so 5 minus, and instead of m we will write this one, so 3 over 4n. But now we need the answer only in terms of n, there is no m, so we need to substitute this also. So we need to get rid of this, so we can replace m by 3 over 4n again. Okay, so it will be 7 times, and instead of m we write 3 over 4n, and then plus n, all over 5 minus 3 over 4n. And then we expand. So this time this, 7 times 3, it will be 21, so 21 over 4n. And then 7 times n, it will be 7n over the same bottom. But we have to simplify, we need to get rid of this 4n from up and down. So to get rid of this 4n, we have to multiply up and down by 4n. So I will multiply everything in the top and the bottom by 4n, okay, to get rid of this 4n. Okay, so the first one, when we multiply it by 4n, 4n will be cancelled, okay, with 4n. So the answer would be 21 for the first one. And also 7n times 4n, it will be positive 28n squared. The same for the one in the bottom, 5 times 4n, it will be 20n, and then negative 3 over 4, negative 3 over 4n multiplied by 4n. 4n will be cancelled with 4n, so we have negative 3. And this is the final answer. So this is the simplest form of the question. So when we have denominator in the denominator or in the numerator, we have to multiply up and down by the thing that we need to get rid of to simplify the fraction and get the simplest form. Okay. Here we have two triangles joined together to form this shape, and we need to work out the length of BC. BC is one side in this triangle. And if you look at this triangle, you will find there is no enough information to deal with the triangle, because to deal with the triangle, you must have three things in the triangle, and these three things must have at least one side. I mean, even the three things you have are three angles, you cannot find anything inside the triangle. Okay, and inside this triangle, we only have these two angles. We can find the third angle. I don't know if we will use it or not, but we can find it. So it will be 87, 180 minus the two other angles. So when the triangle that you need to find a thing in is does not have the enough information, that means you will go to another triangle which has more information and find a side or a thing that helps you to find the thing in this triangle. So the thing we need to find now is the common side between the two triangles, because I can find the side BD from this triangle and use it in this triangle. So the point now is to find BD. So this triangle has two sides and the included angle, so we can use cosine rule to find BD. So we can find BD using the cosine rule. It will be square root b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. So 9.4 squared plus 12.8 squared minus 2 times 9.4 times 12.8 times cosine the angle which is in between the two sides, which is 72, and we find this one. So square root 9.4 squared plus 12.8 squared minus 2 times 9.4 times 12.8 times cosine 72. This will be 13.333597. Okay, don't round because this is not the final answer. We will use it in the another triangle. So this one is 13.3. Now in the triangle that we need to find the side in which is BC, we have now side and opposite angle, which means I can use sine rule. Okay, so to use the sine rule, we use this side over sine the opposite angle. So 13.333597, which is the side BD, over sine the opposite angle, which is 54. And this is equal to, I need to find this side, right? Call it x. So x over sine the opposite angle, which is 39. Okay? So now to find the x, we multiply 39 to the other side. So x is 13.333597 over sine 54 times sine 39. And we find this using the calculator. So 13.333597 over sine 54, this all multiplied by sine 39. Okay, so it will be 10.37, so 10.3719. We need the answer correct to 3 significant, so it will be 10.4. Okay? So the next one is a probability question. We have a box contains 20 counters. The number of red counters is 9. The number of yellow counters is 7. Yellow counters is 7. The number of green counters is 4. And it takes at random 3 counters. This is the most important point in the probability questions at all, which is to know how many times you do the experiment, how many boards you take, how many counters you take. Because when we have 3 counters, that means we will choose 3 things. That means we multiply 3 things together when we find the probability. So we have 3 things or 3 counters. We need to work out the probability that exactly 2 of the 3 counters are the same color. So we need 2 the same color, so the other one must be not the same color. So the options that we have, the first 2 may be red, and the second must be not red. Okay, that means there's 2 have the same color, and the third one is not the same color. Or the 2 may be yellow and 1 not yellow. Or maybe 2 green and the third one not green. So we find the probability of each one. So this one, the probability of red in the first time, it will be 9 over 20. Keep in mind that the counter he takes is not replaced. He doesn't put the counter back into the bag or into the box, because he takes the 3 counters together. So it is not replaced. يعني ما بترجعش. Okay? The ball he takes or the counter he takes ما بترجعش. So we decrease the total. So the red now, when we take one red counter, so now the red are not 9, they are 8. So 8 out of the new total, which is not 20, it is now 19 times. Probability of R dash, we need to know the number of counters which are not red. The number of counters which are not red هيبقوا اللي هما اليلو or green. فدول their number is 7 plus 4, which is 11, which is the same. We didn't take any one of them. Over the new total, which is not 19, it will be 18. Okay? And then we must know that this option will be repeated or not. يعني إيه repeated؟ يعني هل ينفع نبدل؟ Is this the only option that we can choose the counters by؟ لا طبعا في كتير، لأن هو didn't fix the position. He didn't ask me to make the first one is red and the second one is red and the third one is not red. The first one may be red and the second one is not red and the third one is red. So to know how many times this option is repeated, if the number of objects are 3 and there are 2 similar, like R and R, so the options must be 3. The number of times it is repeated is 3. If the 3 are different, it will be 6. Okay? So if they are 3 and there's 2 similar, that means we multiply by 3, because this will be repeated 3 times. Or dash, or dash, or dash, or. Okay? But instead of write each one and then add, we multiply by 3, because we deal with the same bag. I mean the same box. But if they are 2 different boxes or 2 different bags, we have the list. We have to list all the options and add the probabilities. Okay? The second one, we will find it by the same way. for the first one to be yellow. The number of yellow was 7, so 7 over 20. The second one is yellow is 6 over 19. Not yellow, I mean this plus this, so it will be 13 out of 18. And then also we multiply by 3 because we have 3 things and there's 2 similar things, okay? And then plus the third option, which is green. The first one is green, so 4 over 20 times the second one, 3 over 19. The third one is not green, I mean red and yellow. So 9 plus 7, it will be 16 over 18, and also we multiply by 3. And then we find this. So using the calculator, 9 times 8, 11 times 3 plus 7 times 6 times 13 times 3 plus 4 times 3 times 16 times 3 all over 20 times 19 times 18. This will be 51 over 76. So the final answer is 51 over 76. Okay? Okay, let's see the next. Here we have a 3D shape. Okay, this is the cuboid. We have the length and the width. Okay, and CP is 3. This part is 3. The angle of elevation of P from A is 24. So one is looking from A at P. So the line is drawn from A, and this is, by the way, space line because it joins between 2 points which are not in the same face. So this is a space line, okay? So the angle of elevation between, the angle of elevation will be the angle between this line and the horizontal base. The same traditional question to find the angle between the line and the base. But here the angle is given. The angle between the line AP and the plane ADEH is given, which is 24. So we have to know how to determine this angle, how to know the name of this angle. Always you will find a common point between the line and the base. The point here is A. So we leave this point because the angle will be at this point, and we go to the other point and draw a perpendicular from this point to the base. So this is the perpendicular. The point at which the perpendicular meets the face, we join it to the common point. So this is the triangle. The 90 will be at the position we draw the perpendicular at, and the angle will be at the common point. So this is the angle. It is not x, it is given. This angle is 24. Okay, so we can draw this triangle out of the 3D shape to be clear. The most important two things in the triangle are the 90 and the angle. So the angle is at A, so this is 24. Call this point any letter, call it K. So this is K. Okay. Okay, this is the triangle. What do we need to find? We need to find the angle APG. So angle APG, so we join A with P and G. So P and G is not, or the line PG is not a space line because it joins 2 points which are in the same face. Okay, and the same for G and A. We join G and A also. So the angle is APG is this angle. So we draw also this triangle out of the shape. This is the triangle. You can draw it here. Okay. So this triangle is PGA, and this is the angle that we need to find. Okay. So to find this angle, we don't have, by the way, a right angle here. Okay, because the right angle is between AF and the AG. Not PG and the AG. Okay, so to find the angle, we have to know the three sides in this triangle to use the cosine rule, because the triangle has no right angle, so we cannot use Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so we need to find the three sides. So let's look at each one and find another triangle that we can find this side from. So the first one is PG, this line. This line is in this triangle, which is GFA. So we draw another triangle, GFA, which has 98 F, okay, GFA. This is the triangle. The 90 is at F, and this is the most important point in the triangle, and here's P. The question tells us that this is 3, which is CP. So PF will be 10 minus 3, which is 7. So PF is 7. Okay? And the GF, this is the same as this. So it will be 12. So now from Pythagoras, we can find GP using Pythagoras plus. So 7 squared plus 12 squared inside the square root. And we find this. So square root 7 power 2 plus 12 power 2. So this will be square root 193. This is the line GP. So we put it in the triangle that we need to use it for. So 193 inside the square root. Okay. And then the line AG. Line AG, this line, is in this triangle, okay, which has 90 at B. Okay, so if we draw this triangle out of the 3D shape, there are many triangles in this question. So the 90 is at B. This is the most important point. And here's G and here's A. We know that BG is the same length as DE. So BG is also 10. But BA, we don't know its length, but we know that BA is the height of the cuboid, which has the same length as the perpendicular line we drew. Okay? Okay, so if we know the length of PK, we will know the length of AB. So to find the PK, we must work inside this triangle. But this triangle, as you can see, has only two things, the two angles. So we can, or we must find another side. We must find one side to use Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. The side that we can find, or the side we always find, is the side in the base, which is the side AK. The side AK is inside this triangle, which is ADK, which has 90 at D. So this triangle is the most important triangle in the question. So we can draw it outside the shape like this. It has 90 at D. There's A, K, and here's 12. Okay, and this part, which is DK, the same as CP, so it is 3. So we can find AK using Pythagoras. So square root 12 squared plus 3 squared. So square root 12 power 2 plus 3 power 2, it will be 3 square root 17. So this is AK, so we put it here. So 3 square root 17. Now we will work inside this triangle. We can find now PK and also AP, because we need both. We need AG, that we can find it if we find PK, and we also need AP. So let's find AP first. We can find AP from this triangle using SOHCAHTOA, because we have acute angle is given. So this one is the adjacent, and then the one we need is the hypotenuse. So we use cosine. So cosine 24 equals the adjacent, which is 3 square root 17 over the hypotenuse. So to find this, we switch this and this. So H, which is AP, H, okay, equals 3 square root 17 over cosine 24. And we find this. So 3 square root 17 over cosine 24. So this will be 13.539,903. Okay, so this is AP. We write it here. So 13.539,903. The only missing side now is AG. Okay, so we need to find the AG, and to find the AG, we said we need to find AP first. So now we can find AP because we know the length of AP. So this is 13.539,903. So we can use Pythagoras now. Square root 13.53 all squared minus 3 square root 17 all squared. Okay, and we find this. So square root this one squared minus 3 square root 17 all power 2. So pk will be 5.507. Don't forget that pk is the same as ab. Okay, and we need ab. So this one will be the same length as pk. So 5.50717. So now we can find ag using Pythagoras again. So from Pythagoras it will be square root 5.50717 squared plus 10 squared. And we find this. So square root 5.50717 squared plus 10 squared. So this will be 11. So we write it in the triangle that we need to work in. So 161693. Now we can use cosine rule inside this triangle to find x. We use the second version of the cosine rule. Cosine a equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. The one we need is a, so the opposite side is a, so this may be c, sorry b, and this c, or this c, or and this b. The most important point is to call this a and the opposite one is a. Okay, so we substitute. So cosine x equals b squared, so square root 193 squared, and then plus c squared, which is 13.539903 squared, and then minus a squared, which is 11.41619693 over 2 times square root 193 times 13.539903, and all that inside the square root, sorry, inside the shift cosine. So x is shift cosine of all of that. So square root 193 squared plus 13.539903 squared minus 11.41619693 squared over 2 times square root 193 times 13.539903. So the angle will be 49.21 decimal place. He needs the answer to the nearest degree. So the nearest degree, the answer will be 49.16, and the other digits. So to the nearest degree, I mean 9 will be not increased by 1, so it will be only 49. So the angle we need is 49, and this is the final answer of this question. Okay, let's see the next one. Here we have PQRS is a square, so let's draw a square. So this is a square, and we call it PQRS. Let's adjust it. Let's make this shorter. Okay, I think it works now. Okay, not the best thing, but it works. Okay, so the square is PQRS, so PQRS. Okay, and we have PR is diagonal, as you can see. The point P we have its coordinates 4 and 7, and the point R we also have the coordinates for it. And we need to find an equation of the straight line that passes through Q and S. We need to find the equation of the diagonal. Okay, to find the equation of any line, we need to work inside or work on the formula y equals mx plus c. So we need to find the gradient and the point the line passes through to find c. Now for this line, we don't know this point or this point, and we cannot find it. Okay. Also, we don't need the gradient. Also, sorry, we don't have the gradient. Okay. So to find the gradient, we use the property, and the important property, which is in the square and in the rhombus and in the kite, which is the perpendicular diagonals. We know that the diagonals are perpendicular in the square and in the kite and then the rhombus. That means if you find the gradient of PR, we can change the sign and flip to find the gradient of QS. So first we will find the gradient of PR. So M of PR, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So negative 5 minus 7, y2 minus y1, over 8 minus 4, x2 minus x1. And we find this, so negative 12 over 4, which is negative 3. So the gradient of QS will be, this is over 1, so we flip and change the sign, so it will be positive 1 over 3. Now we need to find a point on the line QS. The only point that we can find, and which is also based on a property for this shape, is the midpoint of the diagonal PR. We must know that the midpoint of the first diagonal is the same as the midpoint of the second diagonal, and this happens for the triangle, the parallelogram, the rectangle, the rhombus. Okay, so we find the midpoint of PR and we use it on this line because it's also the midpoint of QS. Okay, so we find the midpoint of PR. So the midpoint is x1 plus x2 over 2, so 4 plus 8 over 2, and then y1 plus y2 over 2, so 7 plus negative 5, or 7 minus 5 over 2. And then we simplify, so 12 over 2, I mean 6, and then this will be 1. So this point is 6 and 1. So now we can use it with this gradient. Okay, now we have the gradient and the point, so we substitute in y equals mx plus c. We replace x by 6 and y by 1 and m by 1 over 3, and then find the value of c. So instead of y we write 1, and instead of m we write 1 over 3, instead of x we write 6, and then plus c. We simplify, so 1 equals this times this, it will be 2, and then plus c, and then we move this to the other side, so c equals negative 1, and then we write the equation again, so y equals mx, I mean 1 over 3x, plus c, which is negative 1. And now we found the equation of the straight line, but he needs the equation in another form. So first we have to get rid of the denominators and make y in one side and the other two things in the other side. So we multiply by 3 because this is the denominator we have. So we multiply the equation by 3. So this will be 3y equals, when you multiply this by 3, it will be 1x, I mean x, and this by 3, it will be negative 3. And this is the form the question needs. So the answer will be 3y equals x minus 3. Okay? Okay, for this question, we need to express this in this form. I mean, we need to complete the square. So the first thing in completing the square is to rearrange the expression. So we start with negative 4x squared, and then negative 12x, and then plus 8. And then any coefficient of x power 2 except the positive 1, we take it common factor. Any number. So here we have negative 4 in front of x squared, so we take this one common factor. Okay? So we divide this by negative 4, it will be x squared. And divide this by negative 4, it will be positive 3x. And divide this by negative 4, it will be negative 2. Okay? And then after we fix the expression, after we take the common factor, we use the formula, which is x squared plus bx plus c equals bracket x plus b over 2 all squared minus bracket b over 2 all squared plus c. We can write b over 2 and c, and then we substitute inside the formula. So b, which is inside the bracket, will be 3. So b over 2 will be 3 over 2. And the c is negative 2. So we will replace b over 2 by 3 over 2 and the c by negative 2 inside this formula. So the negative 1, which is common factor, will be the same. So negative 4, the negative 4 common factor. So bracket and then b over 2. So it will be x plus 3 over 2 because this is the value of 3 over 2. All squared, and then we complete the formula, so minus and then bracket again, and then 3 over 2, which is b over 2, all squared, plus c. C here is negative 2, so we write minus 2. And then we put this number in front of the small bracket, so it will be negative 4, bracket x plus 3 over 2 all squared. And then we find the answer of this using the calculator, and after we simplify, we multiply the answer by negative 4 in one step. Okay, so negative bracket 3 over 2 and then all squared minus 2, and this answer multiplied by the negative 4 which is in front of the large bracket, so the answer will be positive 17. So this is the final answer of completing the square. You can start with the constant if you need. You can start with the 17. Also, you can leave the answer in this form. Both are working. So I can start with the 17. So 17 is positive, and then minus 4 times x plus 3 over 2 all square. Okay? But if you write this form in the final answer, you will take the full mark also. Okay, and then we need to solve this equation showing the working. This equation is the same expression in part A, okay? But now it became equation, not expression. So we can use this one, or you can solve it using the quadratic formula. You can use the completing square form, or you can use the quadratic formula. Both are working, okay? But if you need to use the completing square, you will replace this expression by the answer of completing the square, which will be 17 minus 4 times x plus 3 over 2 all squared. This is the expression that we completed the square form. This will be equal to 0. And then we make the bracket the subject. So we move 17 by negative and then divide by negative 4. So x plus 3 over 2 all squared will be negative 17 over negative 4. So it will be 17 over 4. And then we cancel the power using the square root. So x plus 3 over 2 will be equal to positive or negative. When you do the square root of this, it will be root 17 over 2 using the calculator. So it will be positive or negative square root 17 over 2. And then you move this to the other side. So x will be positive or negative square root 17 over 2 minus 3 over 2. Okay, that means the answer is you take this one time positive and one time negative, so it will be root 17 over 2 minus 3 over 2, or the next time is negative, so it will be negative root 17 over 2 minus 3 over 2 also, and this is the final answer. The second option is to use the quadratic formula, the normal quadratic formula. You can multiply the two sides by negative 1 and then rearrange, so it will be 4x squared, multiply this by negative 1, and this by negative 1 will be positive 12x, and this by negative 1 will be negative 8, so equal 0, and use the quadratic formula like the question we done before. You will be able to find the same answers. Okay, and this is the last question in this exam.